There he is.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good, good. Oh, wait, whoops. Accidentally hit the camera around. Just getting set up here. Just one moment, everybody. You have an underscore at the end of your name, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get started here.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. And we sorry?
I said you were spinning, so I didn't know if it was me.
So looks like the connection came right back. There we are.
Okay.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tag Out Podcast. My name is AJ East Coast, and I am your host. And tonight I've got with me my Indie Star of the Week, Johnny Moran. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. So if you aren't familiar with the Tag Out, guys, this is our podcast where once a week we'd like to feature Indie Stars and give them the opportunity to tell their story and their journey on the way to the pros. And yeah, we just, a lot of people, just don't really know a lot about the ins and outs of the business and, the day to day and what it's really like. A lot of people sometimes, I've said this before on the podcast, a lot of people forget that, you guys do have normal lives and that you are real people, do things like go to barbecues and, go to the grocery store, so that's another reason why we wanted to have. So I also appreciate you, as you guys have seen the podcast before, we've had wrestlers that are on in character. Tonight, Johnny is asked to be out of character, so we want to do our kind of chill interview tonight, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I prefer doing podcasts out of character. Because depending on what promotion I'm at, I'm either a baby face or heel. Or,
right.
Well,
we can get started with that question if you brought it up. So what do you prefer to work with as your character? Do you prefer the heel? Do you prefer the face?
It depends on the story, really, to me. I could play a baby face. I could play a heel. It just, depending on the motivation I have or what the story I'm in, that depends on what I like more. I guess preferably I would like to be the heel more.
Mm-hmm.
A little easier. A baby face, like nowadays in like 2020, like 2021 now, sorry. It's a little harder for people to actually get behind like the guy that's like always the good guy and throwing.
Right. Do you kind of have to play to the crowd a little bit too at the different promotions you work with, the different areas of the country?
I always try to play to the crowd, no matter where I am. It's hard now because there's no crowds, and that kind of kills me because like I like being in there and like feeding off the crowd, especially as a baby face. I think it's murder for a baby face to not have a crowd. Even a heel, like, I don't know, like I'll hear somebody yell like your head's stupid or your hair's idiot or something like that, and then I could play with that person. Like I always that one guy that's just yelling and screaming the whole match. I'm playing with him the whole time, and then usually he'll get the entire crowd into that whole match.
And everything just starts to fall and piece to piece after that. Yeah. We have a comment in the chat from Bradford Montague. He says Johnny Moran is a chill dude.
I love Bradford. Bradford's a wrestler out of Canada, actually.
Nice. So have you done work outside of the United States then?
For Impact.
For Impact, okay.
Yeah.
How long did you do work with Impact for?
I just had a couple tryouts.
Couple tryouts, yeah.
Yeah. So I think technically I had 4 matches and 3 like extra like skit spots.
Okay. Wow, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So with everything, you mentioned earlier, not being able to wrestle in front of the crowd and stuff like that. Have you been able to continue wrestling during the pandemic?
Yeah, the only promotions I've been wrestling for during the pandemic is Camp Leapfrog. That's on independent wrestling TV, and also Titan Championship Wrestling
Of course,
out
yeah.
of Jersey.
Yeah, New Jersey, yeah. So, and have you continued to travel on the road, obviously, during the pandemic? I wanted to ask you a little bit what that's been like, with the ins and outs of traveling as an indie star, especially now during the pandemic.
I kind of miss it.
Yeah,
A lot of the times, like, driving, like, it kind of gives you time to think about your character, think about what you're doing, even if it's just thinking about something in life. Like the road gives you that like 3-hour trip or whatever it was, and
opportunity to brainstorm, right?
yeah, brainstorm or just like think over your thoughts. Like I miss driving. That's one of the things I do miss. I mean, obviously my car loves it, but me personally I miss it.
How long have you been doing this? How long have you been doing professional?
On 6 years. It'll be 6 years in March.
Do you have another career outside of, or is this full time?
Yes, I do have a full-time job out of this. And then on top of that, like I'm at the gym for like 2.5 hours every day. So like there's not much time to have a social life.
Right.
Thanks to my girlfriend that does wrestle, Christina Marie. You should check her out.
Yeah. Shout out to her, of course. Have you guys ever done any work together, you and your girlfriend?
Yes, we've tagged together and we've also wrestled against each other. So
Wow. Okay.
back,
What is that like? You kind of, did a little deliberating, maybe a little fighting, a little out in the ring a little bit, maybe,
yeah. I
take a
mean,
dash,
she's 5'2", I'm 6 foot.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, there's a size difference, so I have to watch what I say because she's pretty close. I don't want to get anything thrown at me. But she won. I just want to put that out there.
Right. All right. Yeah. So where are you from? Where do you hang your head?
Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned going to New Jersey, and where was the other promotion you said that you had worked with?
Camp Leapfrog. That's at a disclosed location, but it's in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So how many total promotions have you worked with in the last 6 years?
Man, I've never been asked that. A lot. I don't.
Good. That's a good thing, though. That's a very positive thing. For those of you, that don't follow indie wrestling, the more that these guys get their attention out there, and the more that, they're in and out of these things. They comment in the chat, those are the right answers. The female is always right. That's correct. But, the more that these guys get that opportunity to showcase their name.
Yeah, no, if you go on my Facebook, I literally have every promotion I ever worked for, but God, it has to be over 50.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's up there because I take opportunities. If somebody gives me like, hey, I can get you on, just come out, I'll take that opportunity. I always take the opportunity.
And have you had held championship titles in these promotions as well?
Yes, I currently hold the New York Championship Wrestling heavyweight title. I am the WYLN TV champion for PPW right now. These are my current titles.
Congratulations. Here's the champ.
Thank you. Prior championships, I was the Atomic Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champion, PPW Tag Team Champion, PPW No Limit Champion, Sanctuary Live Stream title, Sanctuary Live Stream title. What was the other one? Spotlight Championship and the Sanctuary Tag Team Champion.
Wow.
Yeah.
Quite the decorated star we got here tonight.
Thank you.
So you mentioned with tag team champs, are you part of a current tag team, or you just kind of go in and out of tags, or?
I'm technically still partners with Green Ant at Excellence Professional Wrestling. They're running because of PA and their laws with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So technically I'm still in that tag team. I've had multiple other tag teams. I started out as a world-class gentleman. And we traveled a little bit all over. Then I moved on. I was one of the extra guys that were like trios type team.
Okay.
And then after that, I was in the Mighty Militia with another partner. And then I was on Impact with Clutch Adams. But those, all the teams.
To wrestle solo or in a tag?
Right now, I prefer to wrestle solo. I like the beginning, first 2 years of my career. Like I did a lot of tags. I had rare singles. I think I had maybe only like 6 singles matches in 2 years. They were all like tag matches. Every weekend I was wrestling 2 tag matches.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Right now, like I like focusing on my singles career.
Yeah. So with that being said, I saw on your Instagram live called the Agony of Defeat. I watched a little bit of that video, and they said that there was you held the championship, and there was some foul play. Were you able to get that title shot again that you mentioned in the Agony of Defeat video?
Yes. I didn't win, but
Yeah.
I got another shot.
Oh, okay. So what happened? There was just a lot of back and forth, or we'll explain a little.
I got low blowed and thrown over the I went from number 7 all the way to 40. I was out in, like, mind you, that show it was outside. It was 40 degrees.
Damn.
So I was sweating
And
like it was awful. Like I left there with such a headache just from being out like in the elements,
Yeah. Are you guys? It's because now, especially with the pandemic, would you say that a lot of promotions are starting to do more outdoor events and things like that?
Yeah, that was what Jersey like kind of let go,
Right.
as long as it was outside and people were socially distanced. They let them run shows over the summer. So Titan Championship Wrestling, like that was pretty much it for me. Besides Camp Leapfrog.
So your name, the guys his name is the Dark Horse. Could you tell us a little bit about that and how you came up with that, or what's the origins?
Yeah, originally I was the man Johnny Moran. That name, obviously was taken over by Becky Lynch. So I'm like, went to Johnny Moran, and after a while, I was in like a ladder match or like a 6-way or something, and I was in like multiple multi-man matches, and my one friend was just like, dude, every time you go in there, I don't know if you're going to win or you're going to lose. I feel like you're always the dark horse in the match. I'm like, oh, there it is.
Ooh, Dark Horse.
Definition, like, the underdog, the ultimate underdog. So, and I feel like that's how my career went. Like, I always feel like I am the underdog or someone I am possibly like looked over, and I just need the opportunity.
And we hope you get it, man. That's definitely being the Dark Horse and the workhorse and all that stuff. It's just all it takes, you guys, with Indy is just that one moment, just that one opportunity. You definitely seem like you're willing. You say you've been doing this for 6 years and multiple promotions, multiple championships, over 50. That's amazing, man. So you definitely got that dedication behind it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So what are your earliest memories of pro wrestling? As kind of wrestle, you watch it as a kid, or?
Yes. So I had 2 older brothers, my brother Joe and my brother Jamie. They both watched wrestling, and my brother Joe is 20 years older than me, and then my brother James is 10 years older than me. So I just had loads of VHSs that they like had taped, Saturday Night's Main Event or Superstars. So I would literally just watch them on a loop. And like I have Hulk Hogan LJNs that they had, and they have like teeth marks in it from me like biting them as like a baby. So like his memories, like I've always been into wrestling.
Yeah, and you just continue to watch over and over and over there from then on.
Yes, yes, that just never stopped.
Who are you the biggest fan of?
When I was little, it was Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I always liked Ravishing Recruit. I couldn't figure out why, because he was a bad guy. And then I was always Arn and Tully. Like I loved Tully for some reason. Like, and he was like the bad guy, but I was like, oh, he's so cool though. Like I don't know. I like
sneaky.
yeah. And then as I got older, it was Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like I remember multiple Christmases and birthdays. I saw a Saturday Night's Main Event where stunning Steve Austin was wearing trunks that said Dragon Slayer on them and Dragon Slayer on the boots. And I told my mom, I'm like, I want the Dragon Slayer toy for my birthday. Like, I don't care about anything else. I just want that. She's like, I don't know who the heck you're talking about. Like, there's no Dragon Slayer toy. And I'm like, no, there was. And later on in my life, I found out it was Steve Austin. Like, I had no idea because I was young.
That's crazy. Did you ever end up getting a Steve Austin toy, though?
No, I don't even think they make it. You know, you're just a little kid and you're like, oh, that guy, I like his hair.
That's funny. Now, with style-wise, who are your influences style-wise that you take after?
I try to take a little bit from multiple people. I watch a lot of Steve Austin, and watch a lot of CM Punk, Samoa Joe, Ravishing Recruit, Tully, Arn. Also, their Revival. Like I watch a lot of them.
Oh yeah. And out of everyone that you mentioned, who do you think that you most take from or most resemble the most?
I think I'm just a mixture of all. I try not to take
Yeah.
Like I'll take one thing from like Steve Austin. I'll take one thing from CM Punk. I'll take one thing from Samoa Joe. I try not to take too much from each because I don't want to be a carbon copy of anybody.
Right. So that being said, now just kind of just describe your character in its current state. What are you portraying?
It really depends on the promotion. Like I Camp Leapfrog, I'm a douchebag camp counselor. At Excellence, you're big jock, like funny, goofy guy on the football team that teams with Green Ant. And like the dynamic there at Excellence, it's Green Ant's like the badass and like he's the tough guy. And I'm just like, what are you doing, man? Like, because we had this hardcore match and we did this promo before. And he was like, we're going to knock him out. We're going to hit him with chairs. We're going to put him through tables. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And like, I just played the shy, funny guy.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I think you're going a little too far here. Like, I don't know if I want to do all that. But like, depending on what promotion, like, and then you got like Titan Championship Wrestling where I'm the ultimate underdog and I'm keeping the fight up and keeping the fight up and keeping the fight up and just keep fighting back. So it really depends on what promotion, like kind of what side of Johnny Moran you get to see.
Well, it's good that you're adaptable and and you're open to continuing your character. You're not just sticking to one thing. Not saying that, as they say, the cookie cutter wrestler. You're able to.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, to just adjust as you see fit and need to. Honestly.
I did a Samoa Joe seminar my first year. It was like right before he got called up to WWE.
Okay.
And the one thing he said in the seminar that like stuck with me, he's like, try different gimmicks. He's like, this is the indies. Like you can be a different guy at this promotion than you could be at that promotion. He's like, why aren't people trying different things? Because you don't know what you're great at until you try it. So I always kind of kept that with me. And that's basically what I'm doing now. Like, especially like depending on what promotion it is, you're going to see a different side of me. It might be the same one that you saw at a different promotion, but like depending on where I am, it's completely different characters.
And depending on when you get to the pros or one of the two, AEW, WWE, Impact, whatever it may be, you could to potentially be able to take that, like you said, you don't know what you're good at unless you do all of it, and take that as in a hybrid of yourself and a hybrid character, and able to really figure out what your strongest strengths are.
Right. No, I agree.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite matches to work with?
My favorite match of all time was at Excellence Professional Wrestling. It was me versus Hollow Wicked.
Okay.
From Chikara. it was the heavyweight championship match. Like, I had the build going in, and then we just killed it. And like, I remember the week before that, like, I just like upped my cardio so much because like he's wrestled everyone that's like on WWE now and in AEW. So I'm like, oh man, like this is like the measuring stick. And then like when we got in the back, he was just like, I don't have anything to tell you. It went perfectly. And I was like, oh, thank God. Like, that's all I wanted. Like, I didn't want to like, uh, overdo anything or screw up on anything. I just wanted him to be like, oh, you're good. Like, that's all I wanted. Another match.
Yeah.
Another match I had was with Jason King at the Sanctuary. We had a unsanctuary match and basically a hardcore match. That was my first main event ever, so that one always sticks out to me. And then I would say there was a hardcore match again at Excellence Professional Wrestling where it was me and Green Ant versus Hermit Crab and Blackstrom. And Blackstrom ends up at one point I throw a chair at him and he takes it to the head and his head just like splits open, like there's blood everywhere. Like,
Oh,
yeah, it was intense. And I'm not supposed to be the intense character. So
right. Oh shit, my
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
We got a question in the chat. Sarah Emery, she says, "What's your favorite way to celebrate after a satisfying match?"
Really just like decompress in the car. Nothing crazy. I usually I grab a Gatorade or something like that, or depending if I'm really tired after the match, I'll grab a coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I drink my coffee black.
What's your Gatorade flavor?
Grape.
Grape. Okay.
Grape. I'm a grape guy.
So do you, when you, like you mentioned earlier, you had a really good match and you had your heavyweight championship match and stuff like that. Do you ever, wait to get backstage? You guys kind of just, talk right after the match. Do you kind of, talk about what went out there, what the good, the bad? Do you guys ever, go back and re-talk about it or anything like that? Or you just kind of move forward, with matches?
Usually right after a match, like you kind of find your opponent
Mm-hmm.
and meet up and be like, all right, is everybody, first question I always ask is, are you all right? Is everything okay? Like,
Yeah.
just checking on them, making sure like if anything did go wrong or they're feeling weird and somehow you missed it in the ring, you'll know. And then usually we go over the match like, hey, everything's good. Like, I don't remember anything being wonky or different. And you go from there. Like, if there's something messed up, it'll be like, hey, what happened here? And then you'll usually go over like, I don't know, I didn't jump here
Right.
or whatever the sequence is.
Oh, excuse me. Are you able to, when things like that happen, how do you able to adjust on the fly while you're wrestling? If something doesn't go the way you need to, is it kind of just knowing each other, sticking to the choreography, saying something to each other?
Depends who's leading.
Okay.
If I'm in there with someone that's more experienced, I'll let them lead. And especially if something goes wrong. I'm pretty comfortable when things go wrong. There was an older promotion. It's called Old Time Wrestling, and you would literally go to that promotion. They would tell you who you're wrestling. They would tell you the end of your match, and that's all you were allowed to talk about. Like, you weren't allowed to talk about like beginning of the match, how the match is going to start. All had to be figured out in the ring. So
Wow.
all was the ending, and they would literally keep you away from your opponent. They'd be like, "Don't go over there. That's your opponent."
You don't want, yeah, because you just got to figure it out, honestly.
Yeah, it was all on the high. Yeah, and like you would be talking in the ring, you learn how to talk in the ring and not make the whole audience see it. Like, I loved my time there. It was every Saturday at 10 a.m. I used to have to wake up like super early because it was 3 hours away from me.
Yeah, just to make the commute, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the longest you've ever had to make a commute for promotion?
Longest would probably be Georgia, and that way I think is 10 hours.
10 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
Dedication is what we're saying.
Yeah. Or Wrestle America, which Luke Gallows owned at the time.
Yeah.
They let us stay at his house. I was with the extra guys at the time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, really nice guy.
Oh, yeah. You see everything he's doing, on TV now. They're getting the band back together and all that stuff. It's great. Great character.
Deserves all of it. He's a great
Yeah.
guy. He literally helps out. Like, he'll help out the guy that just started yesterday. Like, he always has time for everybody.
We have another question in the chat from Sarah. She says, are there times where improvisation is necessary, or do you actually always remember the routine?
I would love to say that I always remember the routine, but there's times that some reason, like, usually if we're calling it like A to Z, I'll say, hey, I'm gonna forget this part because I keep missing it every time we call it. So I'll tell my opponent, I'm like, tell me something here so I remember that.
Okay.
But if it goes crazy, usually you can remember like the big thing, like the next big thing. And that's what you try to get to. And if you have to completely work on it until the end, like that's what you kind of got to do sometimes.
Yeah, and like she says in the chat now, this she likes the teamwork. Yeah, it is a lot of teamwork, because you are working together, you're keeping each other safe, sticking to the routine, and also putting on a show. And that brings me to my next question: do you have any acting experience outside of professional wrestling?
I don't have like technical like film acting experience. I do have stage. I was in the theater drama department in high school.
Mm-hmm.
When I was an infant, my mom made me, like, literally an infant. She made me play baby Jesus. So like I've always been on some kind of a stage. And then even I used to do concert drums. So I did like play the snare drum and the bass drum for concerts.
Did you always want to be a professional wrestler? Was it kind of the boyhood dream, or?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So how did you get your start about 6 years ago? Explain how that all got down.
Me and Mike Mitchell, one of the extra guys in the Mighty Militia, I was Googling one day after I got out of college because I got into bodybuilding for a little bit, and it was after I did amateur wrestling in college, and I was just looking for like that next thing because like lifting at a gym is fun, but sometimes you just need that extra motivation to get in there and keep going. And I was like, hey man, like, do you think we could actually wrestle? And then he's like, yeah, but like, where the hell's the school around us? And then I literally just put in wrestling schools in Scranton, thinking that like nothing was going to come up.
Mm-hmm.
There was an actual wrestling school in Scranton. It was Backbreakers Training Center. Head trainer is Justin Glory. And we just went in there. It was in the back of a hair salon. And yeah, so like yeah, like the first day we walked in and we're like, and this lady's like, you got here for, aren't you? Not haircuts. And I'm like, no. I'm like, yeah, the right thing. So she pointed us to the back, and then we ended up meeting Justin Glory and signing up.
Right through the hair salon, right to the back.
Yeah, through the hair salon.
That's amazing. You always hear something like that on the indie circuit. You never know, like, oh, it's, back at the bingo hall or the high school.
Yeah, I know how like malls are starting to go out. So like a lot of people are training in malls now. I see more and more like in like old Foot Lockers or
wow,
their stuff,
We have another question in the chat from It's Jeremy AT, who's also my co-host on the Tag Out podcast on Twitch. If you guys check us out on there, we do a weekend review. We talk about NXT and WWE, AEW, everything throughout the week, and then we do a discussion on Saturdays. This week we are doing the Randy Orton and John Cena story. But he has a question for you, Mr. Moran. He says, what would you say is the biggest struggle for you as an indie wrestler?
Originally it was more like time management. Like, like you're missing a lot of like family events. You're missing a lot of your friends' like birthdays and stuff. And like, if you don't know how to handle that, or like, what I used to do, like if I missed a friend's birthday party or a family event, I would always like try and call on my way there and then on my way back, and hopefully get to talk to the person that's having the birthday or the family members that you missed on the event. But I always tried to at least go out of my way to make that, because they knew I was following my dreams, so they didn't really give me much slack for it. But
Yeah. So with that being said, now with the pandemic and everything, how's that affected you both personally and professionally in wrestling?
I got to make a lot more family events, with the pandemic.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a 1-year-old nephew, so I get to see him a lot more than I did, wrestling. Because like I'd only see him like once a week. Now I could see him on the weekend and during the week. So it's positive and negative, because like I miss going out. I miss wrestling all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What have you been able to do at home, to stay in that ring shape?
I bought a lot of like weights and equipment.
Okay.
But my gym near me is open now, so
That's good. Yeah.
I've been getting back to the actual gym.
What is the basic, routine? Not necessarily, like wrestling at the school, but I mean, just your basic workout routine. What is the, the basic stuff that you have to do to maintain that wrestler energy and that wrestler being able to, not everybody can take a chair shot over the top of the head,
Yeah. Me preferably, the one thing that I know always keeps me in ring shape is the Stairmaster. I'll do that for 30 minutes at like level 12 or level 13. And usually when you do that, like that keeps your wind up. I always tell people you need to hit the weights because it puts density back in your bones, and you're slamming yourself against an iron mat, It's just iron and a mat. Like you're slamming your body against it. You need to, hit those weights to keep that bone density in you.
At the same time, what do you do for your easiest like rest and recuperation and stuff like that?
I usually take one day off a week. Usually it's Sunday.
Okay.
It really depends on my schedule. Like if I have a show on Sunday, obviously it can't be my rest day. So
yeah,
I'll usually switch that up.
Just kind of make it through. Now, do you have, any other hobbies outside of wrestling and stuff like that? Just trying.
Besides hitting the gym and
Yeah.
I don't have many hobbies. I like to fish, and besides that, I'm an avid like watching TV with my girlfriend type of guy. Like
Right.
here, like right now, she never saw Game of Thrones, so we're going back through Game of Thrones to prepare for the spinoff that's coming.
Does she know the ending? Does she know how bad it's going?
No, and don't yell it, because
No, not yet. Do you have any, any tips and tricks for, people that are trying to get into the industry? What do you recommend, from what you've seen the last 6 years?
My biggest tip would be make sure you research the school that you're looking into.
Okay.
Make sure either someone that's in that school and you see them performing on shows, or the trainer is someone that's been on TV, and that's been out there, or they're on independent wrestling TV, depending on what you're looking for.
Do you,
I've seen a lot of people taken advantage of, not really trained properly.
I was going to heard any stories of people being taken advantage, or, wouldn't necessarily, fake schools, or, but schools are just not necessarily the subpar. Does that happen often in the industry?
I've seen people, they open a school, it's open for 6 months, and then they disappear. And then you lost all that money you gave out. Luckily, I've gone to quite a few reputable schools. I never stopped training.
Right.
After I was done training at Backbreakers, I went to John Trosky at the Sanctuary. After I was done there, I moved on to Mikey Whipwreck and Tommy Swade at the PPW school.
Awesome.
Where I train.
Do you have any upcoming matches here in the future coming up?
I have one with Tommy Vex that's going to be coming out I think on Independent Wrestling TV or Camp Leapfrog's Instagram and Facebook page. I think it might be on the Independent Wrestling TV though.
Okay,
Page. It's either going to be on one of the two. I don't know where it's coming out.
perfect. Yeah. Well, we'll definitely look forward to that.
It was just live on Independent Wrestling TV for Camp Leapfrog.
Nice. What has been your most difficult match that you've ever had to wrestle? And I mean by that, difficult in the aspect of putting it together, actually executing it from start to finish, things like that.
I don't. It wasn't hard to put together, and it wasn't hard going through it. But when I wrestled Wrecking Ball Legursky, I felt that match for like 4 days afterwards. Like that was anytime someone says the hardest match, and it's not because it was hard to put together. It's just he's one big tough man, and like he throws you.
One of those got to eat the bottle of Tylenol for the weekend matches. Oh man,
that one for a while.
So as I was going through your Instagram and looking at videos and doing more research about you, I found that you have a lot of accolades and awards. A lot of them being, see them right behind you. Yeah, the Wrestler of the Year and things like. You explained to us, a lot of that because you've just only 6 years as a professional wrestler. That's incredible.
Yeah, the Superstar of the Year that was voted on by the New York Championship Wrestling fans. How did that happen? Can you see that question too?
Yeah, I see. I was just about to say we got a question. What's your favorite food to eat after a tiring match? Yeah.
After a tiring match, I like a peanut butter sandwich.
Peanut butter sandwich. All right.
Wheat.
Crunchy or creamy?
Oh, I'm a crunchy guy.
That's where it's at.
Yeah. That's, you know what I mean? Like creamy, you're just like, all right, this is peanut butter. But like, you got crunchy, and you're like, oh, this is excitement. Like, you know what I mean? But back to that, the New York Championship Wrestling was voted on by the fans. Same thing with the PPW Male Superstar of the Year. They were both voted on by the fans, and both companies I'm a heel, so I'm a bad guy. So I literally, like, no joke, I was taken back by, like, I outbeat Deshaun Pratt and Facade for the PPW award, and there were multiple people, Omar that you had on here, beat out for the New York Championship Wrestling Superstar of the Year. So like, especially when you're a bad guy, you don't expect to win those things. Like you're not, usually when you hear Superstar of the Year, it's the baby face that gets
right.
that. Right. And I don't know. I'd like to say that was my work that got me through that one.
Well, congratulations, man. That's amazing. And, like you said, it doesn't happen every day to the heel, but, that's awesome. Yep. Congratulations on that. What was some of the first things you did when you heard the news about that?
I was kind of shocked. I was just like that, and I'm
really?
Like,
you serious? Yeah.
I messaged both people back, and I was just like, wait, like I won? And they're like, yeah, I don't.
Are you sure?
They were like, you're like the baddest guy in the company. I don't know how, but you did it.
The fans like what they see, man.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they stick around and see more.
I hope so. So, I want to know which AEW star you currently like to work with, and which WWE NXT further on star that you like to work with.
AEW, it would be FTR. Partner of my choosing, it would probably be John West.
Nice.
He's an independent wrestler. That's a good friend of mine, and we just know each other inside and out. We've wrestled each other. I wrestled him as a heel. He's wrestled me as a heel. I've wrestled him as a face. He's wrestled me as a face. We've teamed together. Like we just know each other inside out. And then WWE, it would either be Randy Orton or Samoa Joe.
That'd be awesome, especially as you got to see Samoa Joe in his seminar. Coming to the full.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Sorry, I got some in my eye there. We got a question in the chat from Jeremy AT. Said, do you think promo work is more important than skill or vice versa?
I think you need a mix of both.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think you need to know how to tell a story in a match, not just do moves to do moves. Because I think that's what's kind of killing the business is everybody's just doing moves to do moves and nobody's selling them, and that doesn't mean anything. So I think you need to tell a story. And then I think you need to tell a story in your promo too. So I think you need to be good at both because they're coming for the whole product. Your promo gets them in to the building, and then your match sells them to keep coming back.
Right. Who do you look to for your most influences when it comes to cutting promos?
Jake the Snake.
Jake the Snake, yeah.
Yeah. Jake the Snake would be number one. Then you look at guys like Ric Flair. Then you look at Tully. You look at Arn. Any of the Four Horsemen, pretty much. They knew what was going on. Then you watch Dusty if you want a really good like babyface promo and like getting the crowd behind you. I mean, you can even look at Hulk Hogan. Like, sometimes people are like, "Oh, he's hokey." Like, he's talking about his powers and looking to the hand and stuff like that. But you can pull from that. Like, you could see why people buy that. Like, what makes you connect with that. And same thing with like Macho Man. He's talking about creamers and stuff. Like, you look at that and you're like, why do people like that? And that's what I always do. Like, even like I'll find a character in a show and I'll be like, why do I like this bad guy? Like, what about him makes me like him? And it might be something he's wearing. It might be the way he walks. It might be the way he talks. Like, you have to pick apart things.
Try and really, figure it out and you use that for your characters as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So I always ask this question as well towards the end of the podcast and things like that. What do you say to people when they say that wrestling is fake? What is your response there?
I usually don't get that, but I hate to hear that it's fake. If you want to say stage, sure. Fake, I don't know if I agree with that. There's too many people that have gotten hurt and injured. And, if you want to say it's stunt work, sure, fine. But as far as fake, you're still putting your body through everything. So I don't think it's fake per se. Predetermined, rehearsed, some people say acting. I'd rather hear that than it's just fake.
Yeah, there's nothing fake about taking a body slam, like you said. It's just a mat and the iron. There's nothing fake about a kendo stick to the back. I've always, people have always like, oh, they just fake it. They fake the hits. It's like, no, you really hear that. And then you see welts. Like, they go in the back and just paint welts on themselves. You're actually getting hit.
Right.
Nothing you can do to fake that. So how do you just kind of brace yourself after a while, or is that something you have to learn, or you just kind of take it when it comes to getting hit? Things
with weapons, it's a little different because like you don't learn that in training. Like no trainer is gonna be like, hey, here's a sheriff.
Yeah.
No one will show up. Those things are kind of like on the fly. So like I said, I've been in multiple hardcore matches. The first one I ever did was with Jason King, and he did he did death matches. So I just remember looking at him like, I was like, I've never done one of these. I don't know what any of this is going to feel like. And he kind of walked me through it.
Okay.
And I was comfortable with him because I knew he wouldn't do anything that's going to kill me. So everything we talked, we didn't rehearse it, but we talked about it. And he told me exactly what to do with my body. So I knew exactly what to do with my body to protect myself.
At the end of the day, that you have to protect yourself as well as the person that you're in the ring with. As much as a show, yes, there is, safety still is on the line.
Oh yeah.
What is have you ever gotten a bad injury or anything yet?
I got a concussion, and I was completely knocked out. Like I came back to the back, and there's a couple wrestlers that were standing in front of me. It was Mike Orlando, Mick Drake, Magnus from TNA, or Nick Aldis now in the NWA, and Bram, also from Impact and NWA. they were all like staring at me, and then I was like, when's my match? And I already had my match. So they all were like, don't move. We're going to get the doctor. Cause like they all like knew, like when I walked back, I guess like I looked weird. Like I
Yeah,
just
wasn't
walking, kept like walking straight. Cause I did a promo after my match. I finished the match. Like I still wrestled, but like everybody knew something was off.
kind of on the
Like, sorry, go ahead.
autopilot mode a little bit.
Yeah, it was super autopilot mode. Like I don't know how I talked on a microphone. And like after I did a DDT, but it looks like I'm doing a DDT underwater. So then they realized there was something wrong because like it was just super slow. Like I did everything in slow motion. But they got me a Gatorade, and then immediately I had to go to the hospital and get my head checked. Luckily, that's the worst injury I had.
Yeah, well, we hope not.
Obviously
Yeah,
through the years, but
yeah.
nothing like that.
Have you ever taken or had to do any crazy bumps, like fall from any crazy distances or crash through anything like that?
I've been put through tables. Nothing too crazy. I mean, it's like, I mean, it's not too crazy to me, but like, you know, sometimes you're on the top of like the tower and then you go down, but like, I don't think anything too crazy. I never did anything like off a scaffold or anything like that.
So a lot of people say that they don't really know, like, you know, how high the top rope is until you're actually up there, you know.
Right. No, I get that.
Did you have that feeling that first time you were up there, like the don't look down feeling, or the first time you got suplexed, you not really know what to expect from that height?
No, I didn't fear it all too much because I don't know. I just went in with that mentality of like, this is what you've always wanted to do. So
Yeah, yeah.
here's your chance. Like you're up here now, and I just went. You know.
Yeah.
The one thing I didn't do though is I never looked to the right or to the left. I just looked at the mat.
Just straight down, yeah.
Comfortable, and then I looked to the right and the left, and it wouldn't bother me then because I've done it before. But like I remember when we were doing like stuff from the top rope, I climbed the top rope and I just looked straight. And it wasn't something I did on purpose, but I realized it later because like the one kid did freak out, and I'm like, why did he freak out and I didn't freak out? And then I realized he didn't look right or left, and like first thing he did was look right and like saw how far the floor was.
Yeah, he had lost it.
Yeah.
So with when you're cutting promos and things like that, do you guys kind of promo work within each other in training, or do you kind of interrupt each other, do you kind of make fun of each other? How do you kind of keep yourselves on your toes as you're cutting promos?
Um, from the get go, our trainer always told us, as a heel, you want to build up your opponent and then bring it down, and vice versa. Even as a baby face, you still want to build up the heel because when you beat somebody, they have to be something, or who the hell did you beat? And vice versa. If they beat you, if they're this garbage that you keep talking about, what did you just get beat by? You know? So we had early promos, and like I always was kind of comfortable with promos. A lot of people get like frozen when they start doing promos. They freeze up. I think it's just from years of being on the stage, like I was just kind of used to that.
A natural ability, yeah.
Yeah.
Acting. Well, the last few minutes here, the last question I always try to end on, so you have the ability to promote yourself and things like that. Do you have any merchandise currently and things like that?
Yes, I do have a Teesprings. It's literally right here on my Instagram. It's right underneath. It's the Dark Horse Johnny Moran and my Teesprings. So if you go to my profile, you can click my T-shirt store. I also have a Twitter. It's Johnny Moran _, same as my Instagram handle. And then if you look for me on Facebook, I'm Johnny Moran the Wrestler. That's my like page. If you can go there, I appreciate that. I also have a YouTube page. I upload my matches. It's exactly where I upload everything first, like before I put it on Instagram, before I put it on Twitter and Facebook. It's the first one that gets it. So if you're on my YouTube, you usually get it a day before everyone else sees it.
That's awesome, man. Yes, make sure you guys check him out. Check out his Teespring. Check out the Instagram. Look at the videos, all that. Please give him a subscribe. Shout him out. Everything. Like we said, it's the Indie Star of the Week. We want to give these guys the opportunity, the platform, and being able to showcase who they are, showcase their talent, and get their names out there as much as possible is the mission that we are going for here.
Yeah, thank you. Honestly, thank you for having me on. It's been awesome.
Yeah, man, it's been fun. Thank you for sitting down with us and getting to know you a little bit. We'd love to have you back and do another follow-up with you in the future and
love to. You just name time and place.
Dig some more. Maybe me and Jeremy can dig through your matches a little bit. We do stuff like that, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that is it for tonight. Make sure you guys check us out on Twitch this Friday night at 10 o'clock. Jeremy and I will be discussing the week, and then Saturday, the same night, same time, we'll have the Randy Orton and John Cena story. And look forward next Tuesday, we'll have another Indie Star on. Thank you, Mr. Moran, Johnny Moran, the Dark Horse. My name is AJ East Coast, and I've been your host. Y'all have a good night.